Welcome back, friends. So I wanted to focus on how to calculate your ideal position size and lots. This is really important since a lot of brokers don't offer the calculator, and sometimes it's really hard to use the calculator the broker gives if you've never used it. So, like XM still has a calculator if you want to use it, and sometimes most calculators don't actually show you how to calculate the ideal position size. So, I've broken it down into about 3 steps for you. And so, first step, you need to calculate your risk per trade. You don't have to do much calculation here. It's just determining what percentage of your account you're going to risk. Is it 1%? Is it 2%? And then you need to convert that to a dollar amount. So if it's 1%, for example, you need to calculate that 1% of your account into a dollar amount. So say your account size is 5,000, you want to convert 1% into a dollar amount, which is $50, right? That's step one. Step two is you need to calculate the pips at risk if your stop loss is hit. What I mean by pips at risk is a lot of people will say, I set my stop loss at 35 pips, 40 pips. That's what it means. What is your stop loss pip amount? That's what we mean. And I want to say you want to avoid the 35 pip stop loss because I think every broker knows most people go for 35 pips. I use the 8 moving average on the 1 hour chart for my stop loss. I avoid the 35 pips. I just noticed everyone used it, and obviously, if everyone's using it, the broker knows where your stop loss is. So, for my example here, let's just use, for example, 38 pips, right? Because we're trying to avoid 35 pips. So we've got our percentage at risk. We've converted it into a dollar amount. We now know our pips at risk, which is 35 pips. And then now here's where the formula comes in. You need to take your dollar amount at risk, right? So $50, because it's a $5,000 account. So $50 over pips at risk times pip value, right? So first is your dollar at risk, so $50 over, and then in brackets under that as your denominator, you have pips at risk times pip value, and then that's your position size and lots. Now to explain it a little bit easier, because some things like pip value, what is that? So like for example, if you go on your broker, a lot of the times in the calculator they'll tell you the pip value of things, but for example, like the common pip values are those with pairs which end with the US dollar as the second pair. So like Euro US dollar, CAD US dollar, Pound US dollar. Those are the easiest ones. Those are usually set at fixed rate of like 10 for a standard account, dollar for a mini account, and then micro it's 0.10. So that's usually like the fixed value. So in our example here, say your account is 5,000. I want us to go through an example so you get to see what I'm talking about. Say your account is 5,000 and you want to place a trade on Euro USD. Like we said, your dollar amount at risk, $50, and then over, the denominator is 38 pips, because that's our stop loss amount in pips. 38 pips times a dollar. Say it's a mini account, right? So it's times a dollar equals 1.3 mini lots, right? Or 13 micro lots. So now that we know the position size, we know the position size in mini lots because the pip value we used in the calculation is for mini lots. Yeah, I talked about that. So when I was writing this down, I was just thinking, okay, it's $10, it's a dollar, 0.10. Okay. So to calculate the position in micro lots, you use the micro lot pip value. Like I said, the micro amount in pip value is usually 0.10. So it's 10, and then it's a dollar, and then 0.10. If you don't know the pip value, this is actually, you don't even have to know it. A lot of the times if you go to your broker, on their calculators, they'll tell you the pip values. So don't even stress yourself, especially if you're trading a pair which doesn't have the US dollar as the second currency. So like if it's not Euro USD, CAD USD, and things like that, just go to your broker's page. They usually have a value calculator. I use XM, so they have one. It's actually quite simple. You don't even have to know it. What else have I not gone through? Yeah, and then the last thing was to double check that you're within your risk amount. What I like to do with XM, and I hope that a lot of brokers do this, whenever I set my stop loss, if you just move the cursor like the mouse and you just leave it on that stop loss line, Well, once you've placed a trade and you put your stop loss and you move your cursor to that line, it usually tells you the pip value. So in your calculations, it usually tells you like these are the pips at risk, and this is the dollar amount at risk. So the broker calculates for you the amount at risk and the pip value, and then those figures are the ones you use in this formula to determine whether you're within your risk. So you can still double check your calculations, and then you can also still double check with the risk calculator that the broker has.